Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. My name is Artem and here is the news. For 396 days, Ukraine defends itself against the Russian invasion. The Ukrainian Foreign Ministry has officially responded to Russia's intention to deploy tactical nuclear weapons in Belarus, reports Union. In its statement, the ministry noted that Russia's intention is yet another provocative step by Putin's criminal regime and undermines the principles of the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, the nuclear disarmament architecture, and the international security system as a whole. Ukraine calls on Belarusian society to prevent the implementation of these criminal intentions. Ukraine also expects effective measures to counteract the Kremlin's nuclear blackmail from the United Kingdom, China, the United States, and France as permanent members of the UN Security Council, which have a special responsibility to prevent threats of aggression using nuclear weapons. Ukraine demands an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council to be convened immediately for this purpose. According to the US Institute for the Study of War, Putin seems to reject the idea, increasingly prevalent in Western discourse, that the current military realities require or support a negotiated solution of the war, reports Radio Liberty. The experts believe that the Russian dictator instead remains focused on achieving his initial war aims through protracted conflict in which he wins either by imposing his will on Ukraine by force or by breaking Ukraine's will following the West's abandonment of Kyiv. Multiple successful Ukrainian counteroffensives are almost certainly necessary but not sufficient either to persuade Putin to negotiate on acceptable terms or to create military conditions on the ground favorable enough to Ukraine and the West that continued or renewed Russian attacks pose acceptable threats to Ukraine or NATO. We would really appreciate if you could recommend us to your friends and family as well as share information on social media. This way more people would learn about the podcast and truth about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. According to The Guardian, Ukrainian servicemen completed training on Challenger 2 tanks in the UK, reports Ukrainska Pravda. The British Ministry of Defense informed that crews and tanks will arrive in Ukraine in time for the spring counteroffensive. British Defense Secretary Ben Wallace said that he was inspired by the determination of the Ukrainian soldiers. The crews have received training on how to command, drive, and coordinate the Challenger 2 tanks, as well as how to effectively identify and engage targets. Earlier it was announced that a second group of Ukrainian artillery crews is completing their training on British AS-90 self-propelled howitzers. The training takes place at a specialized facility under the control of the Royal School of Artillery and is being carried out by officers and soldiers of the Royal Regiment of Artillery. On January 15th, the UK confirmed plans to send a squadron of 14 Challenger 2 tanks and about 30 AS-90 self-propelled howitzers to Ukraine. North Macedonia may transfer 12 Mi-24 Soviet-made attack helicopters to Ukraine, reports European Pravda. The General Staff of North Macedonia had completed an analysis of whether the country could provide Ukraine with Mi-24 helicopters and will put forward this proposal to the government on 29th of March to make a decision. According to Defense 24 Polish news outlet, only 2 of the 12 Mi-24 attack helicopters and 4 Mi-8 multipurpose helicopters in the country are currently in use. These 4 helicopters and 4 more Mi-24B have been upgraded over the past decade in cooperation with Israeli company Elbit Systems. They have been adapted to interact with NATO forces and are equipped with avionics that enable to use a night vision system. Last August, North Macedonia handed over 4 Su-25 fighter jets to Ukraine that it bought from Kyiv back in 2001. The country also donated Soviet T-72 tanks to Ukraine, which it planned to decommission in the coming years. The national football team of Ukraine lost to England in the first match of selection for Euro 2024 with a score of 0-2, reports Suspilne. The Ukrainian national team still has a chance to qualify for Euro 2024. For that, it needs to finish second in the group. The Ukrainian national team will play next against North Macedonia on June 16th. The Highlights from Ukraine podcast is an uncommercial initiative of just two people, and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we are getting better. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.